Today we're going to cover everything selling on episode 4 of the COMC tutorial series. We're going to go over the different ways to sell your cards, the fees that you'll encounter while selling your cards, how to best present your cards to increase your sales, and lastly, some tips and tricks to keep your fees down in order to maximize profit. There's a lot to cover today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get to work. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have you on this. It's a pleasure to have you here on this episode and what I feel is one of the most important episodes of the COMC tutorial series. If this is your first time here, welcome. I would encourage you to start at the beginning of the COMC tutorial series just to get caught up, but you're welcome to just watch the channel and videos at your heart's desire. And if you've been following along since the beginning, just a quick recap of what we've covered. We've set up the account. We've gone through all the different ways that you can buy inventory and the fees that go along with it. We've most recently covered how to ship your cards home as well as ingest your cards from home into the platform for sale. So now that we've gone over how to buy stuff and how to ingest stuff into the site, now it's what do we do with the inventory? How do we sell that to build credit in the platform and start making some profits on our sports cards? And before we get into that, if you aren't already subscribed, please do. It really helps out a lot. And give the video a like if it's helpful to you. Let me know in the comments if anything has helped you in the series so far, or if there's anything in the series you'd like me to cover as we go forward. Channel plug out of the way, we're going to jump right into it. Here we've got the COMC training profile, as I like to call it. And there's not a lot we can do with selling here because we have no inventory. You can see we've done nothing here. We have no cards. So I'm going to jump back over to my main one that I use personally to demonstrate what we need to go over. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go over the traditional listing of your cards and what that entails. So we're going to go look at the inventory here, and I'll just sort it by my first page. We're going to see a myriad of stuff in here, stuff that I bought on the platform, stuff that I've won and I have staged to go home, stuff that I've ingested and whatnot. So what we're going to do is go here, just go sort of A to Z so we can see. Now here's the first thing. I've got duplicates of this card in here. Now there's a couple of things that you can do. You can see there's already 15 of them in the platform. The more I water that down, the more that's just going to continue to drive the price down. It's not a real rare card and it's not going to move really well. So you just pretty much got to get it listed and try to sell them. And then when one sells, I will just immediately list this one and get it out there. One thing to cover here is your inventory that you have listed not for sale, you're not going to get charged a storage fee on. And storage is something I'll cover in a minute. We'll go over the guidelines. There's a way that you can list all these cards and you might be thinking, well, what if there's someone that wants to buy 10 of something and you're going to miss out? I'm going to tell you right now, I've been on the platform for close to 5 years. There's about 2 of those times I've run into it. You're better off just not watering down inventory and paying storage on cards that just are going to sit. All right, so on to the next. You can see I have the same thing going here with this Ted Williams Archives card. And you can see here it shows that we have one listed at $217 and the cards are listed from $217 to $275. So let's look at that. That's typically what I like to do to price my cards if I really don't care about what I have into it and what I'm looking to get. I pretty much just want to move off it as quick as possible. I will make sure that I'm the lowest. And that's something that you're going to have to do once you build up some inventory. I go through my inventory monthly. And I don't do it all at once because it's just super boring. But I will just pick a page of 100 and I'll do like 100 one day. And you can cycle through it in a couple of weeks. So I'll pretty much just cycle through it, make sure that I'm on top of my inventory, make sure nobody drastically undercut me. Or sometimes there's cards that you have a COMC monopoly when you shipped it in and you really priced it aggressively, but now you go look and all of a sudden there's 5 there and you're astronomically higher than everybody, so you need to get down and compete in order to sell that card. Stuff like that. So that's what we're looking for when you go through your inventory, and you'll learn how to read it the more you use it. Really what it's showing here is $217 is what I have it listed for, and it was ingested as standard. You can see now how that keeps your fee down, your asking price. If I had ingested this as select and it was $1, I would actually, in order to be the lowest, would drive this number down in order to get this combined number where it needs to be, if that makes sense. So this is why it's worth the wait, especially on the low-end sports cards, to get them in as cheap as possible, because ultimately to get them sold, you need this fee to be smaller to beef this one up as much as possible, if that makes sense. So let's look at Ted Williams here. We're going to get a little better look at it. So you can see here, 217 is what I'm getting, and that's what it showed on the previous screen, but it's actually listed as 242 here. It's factored this in. So when I'm going through my inventory, I'm looking here at what's the combined amount and where do I need to be at. So I don't necessarily look at the Ted Williams card like this, because you can see there is a promotion being run here that actually undercuts me. And that's something that we'll get into in a bit and talk about promotions, how you can use that if you would like to. It is something that I've kind of gone on and off of over the years, and I'll tell you why when we get there. But I like to always be at least the lowest on this screen. And that's because when those promos end, I'll still be here. Those promotions don't last forever. Someone might temporarily be undercutting me by a few cents. Sometimes they undercut you by a lot, but I don't like to do that mainly because I want to maximize my profit on the low-end cards, and I'll show you why promotions can hurt that a little bit. All right, so here's a good example. I like to remain the lowest, which I am by a penny. Sometimes I'll come in here a month from now, and I'll be down here, and I need to adjust my price by 2 or 3 cents to get down here. Now, you don't have to do that. You can be firm with your price if you want, or if you come in here and there's somebody that's at $1 and you're thinking to yourself, maybe I'll just buy that dollar card, sit on it for a little bit, and then I'll put mine up around here. That kind of stuff can work, but you want to do it with stuff that's fairly liquid. I wouldn't do a move like that with this card. You're probably going to wind up sitting on it for a while. It doesn't sell a lot, I would imagine. I don't even see any history here, so it's going to take a very niche buyer for this. It's going to take someone that's looking to assemble that archive set. Maybe they're a Ted Williams collector of sorts, but it's going to take a very particular person to buy this card, and to sell through this inventory, it probably would take years. Okay, so to get stuck with having a third one is not what you want. Even if it's dirt cheap, you just don't want it. It's gonna clutter up your inventory. It's just not worth it. That dollar could be better spent elsewhere. So we're gonna go back to the inventory here and try to look for some more examples to go over to find things that are a little different. So you can see I have a lot of copies of this Aaron Donald rookie, tons of them, and basically, to tell you the background there if you care, I had bought a huge lot of those, and I sent in the ones that I thought were gradable, had a really good gem rate. I think I sent like 12 and gem like 10 and got like 2 9s, and it was a really good job. It was just the ones that were kind of OC or had little reasons I believe they wouldn't gem. I sent them in here to sell raw. I still have a good amount of them left. They sell quite a bit, but you can see here's one of the PSA 9s right here. And this is a good example of what I wanted to stop on here. So you can see we've got a COMC Monopoly on these 2 cards, which means we have the only one. You can list them aggressively. I typically try to sell them right around what the comps are. I just want to move off them. I'm not looking to trick somebody into paying me extra $10 for something. I mean, more power to you if you'd like to. But to me, it's just about turning and burning. These things are not cards I really plan on holding firm on to get every last drop of juice out of the orange, so to speak. I'm not going to just give them away, but it's, you know what I'm saying? You just got to move off the cards that aren't your big heavy hitters and try to get that money working for you elsewhere. To make sure that you ingest the cards on a standard price, especially your low-end cards, especially your slow, not liquid, not seasonal cards. You can see a lot of these cards that I have in here are slow-moving stuff. They're decent cards. They're just they need the right person to come along, and they're just not going to move really fast. That's typically what I send in here because I just don't want them sitting at home. I want them away from me. But what I wanted to do with these COMC Monopolies, now, if you remember on the buying video, I showed you the Giancarlo Stanton. And how you present a card is very important because it integrates to eBay, and we know there's a markup, right? So with there being a markup on eBay, this card is going to present higher. And I'm going to look at that for you now. Okay, so now we are at COMC's eBay store. We're going to throw that Aaron Donald here in the search. And we are going to find it. And you can see here, it is at $57.74. So let's go back but I only have it listed for $49.99 with the shipping included. So you can see there's that markup because I'm only going to get a 5% deduction or a sales fee from this. So if I sell this for $49.99, my sale fee is going to be about $2.50. Very, very reasonable. That's why I like to sell them here. But how it's set up and how it works with eBay is eBay's going to make their money, okay? And so is COMC. So that fee is being pushed on through integration to the buyer. And we covered that in the buying video. So why I'm going over it again is because as I'm going to talk about promotions, this is where it becomes really important. You want to think of how your card is going to present not only on COMC, but on eBay where there's even more eyes, okay? This is where I decided to kind of move off of promotions. So I'm going to go back to the training COMC and I'm going to show you why. Okay, so now when you're here on your dashboard, you can get to your promotions manager. Here on the left, it's on the seller menu, right here. We're going to go right into promotions. So now we're in the promotions manager. And here's where you can set up your promotions. I'll cover ports later in the video. Those are a little goofy. For a standard promotion, you can see right here, it costs you $1 right away. So if you're going to run a promotion of any kind, whether it's 3 days, 11 days, whatever it is, it's going to cost you $1 out of your credits right away. So if you're selling a lot of low-end sports cards, sometimes that $1 means something to you. Every time you run a promotion, it's $1. And I would always run the maximum amount, which I'll show you in a minute, is 11 days. So I'd be running about 3 promotions a month. You eat $3. It's not the end of the world if it really makes you that much in sales. But here's the caveat. So it's $1 for 10,000 items, and it is 1% of the original asking price, which you can see here, and the 1% is taken at the time of the sale. So if we go back to that Aaron Donald and I run a promotion and I have it 10% off, that is going to show up in green like it did with that Ted Williams. Okay, so now we're back at Ted. Remember before when I showed you that green means someone's running a promotion? It says right here, they're running 9% off. However, if this person sells this Ted Williams, even though their sale fee is going to be $223, they're going to be paying 1% at $245 because that's a promotional fee, and then they're going to then pay 5% of the sale fee again. So you're paying a little over 6%. It depends how big of a discount you have. So sometimes people like to game the system where they'll list this Ted Williams at, let's just say, or there's nobody here who's doing it, but let's just say this person, Card King, listed this card at $15, but then he listed it as 90% off. It would be at $150. Now it would seem like a good price, and it would undercut everybody. He would hide over here, so when we look at the previous screen, he would be very inconspicuous. He'd have a $15 thing here. He'd look like he's not competing with you at all, but it would actually be $150 as the buyer sees it while the promotion is running. However, he's going to be paying 15 cents on that promotion before he's paid his 5%. So he's going to pay about 7.5, 8 cents on that $150 plus 15 cents as the 1% of the $15. So his total fees are going to be about 23 cents if he sells that Ted Williams that he has listed at 15 hypothetically for $150, if that makes sense. Now, if I sell my card for $242, which we know the fee is $217, I'm going to just have to pay 5% of the $217 in fees, which is about 11 cents. So I sell the card for more, kind of substantially more, if you look at the marginal difference between selling it for $217 versus $150. That's a pretty big difference. But I'm paying 11 cents in fees versus his 23 in that example. Now, of course, it's an extreme example. I had it at $15 here. Maybe he has it closer to like $5. But even so, you're still going to come out ahead doing that. So the reason I got away from promotions is because I found that, yeah, you might sell a few more cards, but the amount that you pay in that 1%, especially if you move some big cards, that 1% on a slab that's $50 or even $150, pay that, it's another $1 that you're paying on the fee if it's on a promotion. And a lot of times what people will do is they'll mark the card up, run the promotion, and then that pulls the price down to about right here. So you're right where you need to be, just like the gentleman here on the other screen. This is a perfect promotion. He's not the lowest on the previous screen. He's somewhere in here. He's like third place, but his promotion pulls him down right into the sweet spot. If you're going to run a promotion, that's how you want to do it, in my opinion. You could be one of those people that just runs like 60% off all the time, and sometimes I think that's more done to catch the more novice buyer, take advantage of somebody where they're thinking, wow, this person's clearing out their store, they're getting rid of everything. But somebody that really knows their cards and the price, especially here on COMC where it's cataloged so well, it's not like eBay where you can kind of catch someone almost like that whatnot instinct where I better act quick, I better buy this now before I miss it. And all of a sudden you end up overpaying for something. I think that's what some of those big promotions are and why I just stopped doing it entirely. So again, with the promotion, you pay the $1 up front, you pay the 1% on whatever the fee is before it's discounted, and then it's 5% on whatever the sale fee is that you accept. So to me, that's just way too many fees tied up, especially if they're low-end sports cards, which most of the stuff I have on here is. I would say 97% of it is $50 or less. So that is a bit about promotions. You can use them. A lot of people swear by them. There's people that are like, I never don't run them. They think that this green tag right here and having your cards low it does something. And I will admit I have had a lot of success doing it. It works for some people, but it didn't work for me. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to go back to what I mentioned a minute ago with eBay and the integration. So eBay doesn't recognize the promotions at all. Okay. So how this is going to look on eBay, it is going to look like his price is not discounted, and then it's going to have the markup, okay? So much like that Aaron Donald, if I put a promotion on that Aaron Donald that's 50% off, it's 50% off on COMC, but it's still going to show that original price on eBay, 57 or whatever it is, based on the $49.99 fee that it started as or it's listed as before promotional price kicks in, if that makes sense. So when I talk about getting your cards presented to sell, COMC is great. There's a lot of users in here, but you want to appeal to as many buyers as possible, especially on these niche cards like this. There's a good chance that somebody will come by on eBay and snap this up. And it works out really well on eBay because sometimes people will just do the combined orders there. I don't want to waste too much time about what buyers are going to do what, but you want this card to have the greatest reach possible. If you limit it to like this card will sell here on COMC, but there's way more eyes on eBay. So when someone puts this search in and starts looking for these Ted Williams cards and they're going to go through the inventory, this isn't going to show lowest. So if they're just looking to pick up the card and they don't really care about centering, they don't care about anything else, just want the card, they want the cheapest option. Unfortunately for this person, it's going to be me if that's all they choose. And that's what I want. I want to appeal to the most people across the board. You know, during this promotion, which is going to be 11 days or less, could somebody come along, pick this off, and I miss them? Yes. But I will take that chance for greater exposure for my entire inventory over the course of time. I'll take the one or two goofy sales I miss, if that makes sense. Just playing the game, playing numbers. So if we go back, and let's act like we're going to start one now. So we're going to start a promotion, and you get to choose when you start it if you want. If you're going to go out of town, you just want to run a promotion, or you want to start it around a holiday or do something goofy with that, you can do that. You can pick the duration if you just want to go do a blitz, or if you want to do 11 days. I always did 11 days. I assume if I'm paying the $1, I'm just going to get the most out of it. All right, so now down to your discount amount. Now what I used to do, so when we go back to this screen here, kind of lose you with what I'm talking about. So when I would go through and I would price these cards out and I would see, okay, let's go back to Ted Williams. And I would be here and I would see I need to be at 242 to be the lowest. So what I would do, I had this formula built in an Excel sheet, and I would say my price point is 242, and it back converted to tell me what my price needed to be here after the shipping and my 30% sale fee and everything. So it might tell me you need to price this at $3.10 or somewhere around there. So I would price it at $3.10. I would look like I'm the highest. Then I would kick in that 30% discount and I'd be right there by just a penny. And I went through the trouble to do that all the time, and it was very successful. And the 30% seemed to be a nice number where like the discount was significant enough to where people cared. But the problem was I had like no eBay sales. I was just priced out no matter what. Like I had like none. And now I would say it's probably 60-40, probably 60 sales within the platform, about 40% from eBay. Then if you count the auctions, which ultimately are run through eBay, I suppose it's probably higher, but I'm just talking about just stuff that people just fix price, rip it. That's key to me. Those are sales that I just wasn't getting before. And I'm not going to tell any of you how you need to manage your COMC port, but if someone came to me asking for straight up advice, I would tell them, make sure you price the lowest when it makes sense like this. It's completely up to you. What I would do is I would advise people just not to run promotions until the platform issues like a promotional promotion, if that makes sense. Sometimes they'll give you like free Thanksgiving Day and free Black Friday promotions and stuff like that, where they just are encouraging people to spend and they're not hitting you as hard for fees. Times like that, I would take advantage of it, but just running promotions for the sake of doing it, it doesn't work for me anymore, but it might work for you. Sometimes on COMC, you'll load your first shipment in there and a bunch of the stuff sells right away, but then you're left with like 2/3 of it that just kind of sits. Sometimes running a promotion will kind of generate some movement and get some stuff out of there. So it's really up to you. Use that how you want, but we're going to go back and finish this example. So we can go here and say, we'll go old school like I used to. All listed items will be offered at the selected discount. To offer individual items at a different discount, select from the drop downs below. So you actually, I'm in the training one now, but you could normally see your inventory here and you can pick and choose what you want to run the promotions on. The 12 highest priced items will be featured on your promotional detail page. To display other items, check the box below. So again, you can make sure that like whatever somebody looks in your profile, if they want to look through your promoted cards, you can boost whatever one's on there. So if there's some that you think is a great deal or you're just ready to move off of them, you can put that up there so more people see that and they don't really have to dig for it. I typically just put my highest dollar cards up there or the ones that are pretty liquid. I just want to like move them quick. I'll do that. Sales promotions are only visible on COMC.com. eBay prices are not modified. So remember, I just explained that and somewhat showed it with the Aaron Donald. Your offer settings, minimum offer and auto accept offer, are based on your original asking price, not your promotional price. So that's important to know as well. And we will go over those in a moment. Setting up the parameters for your offers, what you're willing to even entertain and what you'll auto accept, that sort of thing. You can automate that as much as you want to. That is promotions in a nutshell. They're kind of complicated, but also not. Just the key is to really understand the fees and understand what you're doing, especially the lower end the card is, you're already going to have ingestion fees into it. So you don't want to just keep putting tons of money into a $2 card. There's just going to be nothing left for you. All right, so we're going to go back to the dashboard here, and we are going to go back to our settings to set up our parameters that I was talking about with your offer. Now again, you can get to those from up here, the drop down, profile and options, or down here, profile and options. Here's our somewhat fakey address from the previous video. Actually, the post office box is real. The phone number is not. So we are going to go to incoming offers. Okay, that's what we want to set up here. And it explains what it is. We'll go through the first one. Are you annoyed by little offers? Or do you wish users could offer less than 50 cents? This allows you to customize the minimum offer amount. So if you have a lot of low-end cards, going back to some of those, like that Hannes Wagner that I had on the screen when we first went into my inventory, I think it was priced for like 68 cents or 69 cents or something like that. And if I was willing to entertain a 50% offer like it says here, I would need to lower this threshold to accept half of what 68, 69 cents is, or even more. I think I have my minimum offer down to like 1 cent. Like, I don't care if it falls within my percentage parameters, I'm willing to at least look at it. This basically says, like, if I'm not willing to ever take less than 50%, you leave this here, and then on your really low end cards, you don't get a ton of offers that you have to deal with. You're not going to get a lot of email. You're not going to get a lot of email notifications. You're not going to get a lot of notifications on your dashboard. Just a way to kind of keep it clean, and you only look at stuff you care about. It's really up to you and your personal preferences and what you're trying to sell and how low you're willing to go. Minimum offer percentage, pretty straightforward, right? It is the minimum percent of your listing price that you're willing to accept. Again, annoyed by lowball offers, question mark. Going out of town, this will prevent users from sending you offers that are lower than your minimum offer percentage, you can set this to 100 to turn off offers completely. And we saw that a little bit at the end of the buyer video, where you can make somebody an offer, and if it goes through, you don't really know what their settings are. You know that you were within them. But if you're too low, it will tell you, hey, this buyer's minimum price that they're willing to accept is this. And it kind of, you can do the math and figure out what their percent is if you really want to. It doesn't mean they'll auto accept it. They may still have their auto accept offer was only at 100. So they might have this set at 50. So we'll talk about the auto accept offer. Too busy to stay on top of your offers. This option allows you to pick an offer percentage that you would automatically accept. By default, everyone accepts 100% offers, but maybe you want to automatically accept offers that are 90% or whatever you are asking. Okay. If there's an amount you're always going to accept, like if somebody makes an offer and you're like, if they make me 90, it's close enough, I'll accept it. You can do that. If you're like, I will accept anything, I'm just selling a collection that I bought and the stuff that I sent in is just icing on the cake, I'm not looking to make anything out of it. I already made my money back from the big cards. I'm going to just set it at 50 and 50. Well, anytime anyone makes you a 50% offer, automatically accepts it, and it's money in the bank. If you're willing to entertain a 50 and you'll auto accept maybe a 75, any offer made over 75 is automatically accepted. Pretty obvious. But if they make one between 50 and 75, queue it up on your dashboard for you to review. So you can look at it there and then either accept it, counter, or decline it. Just like when we did the buyer video, only you're on the other side of it as the seller here. Very straightforward. It's important to set these parameters up early, especially as you're selling cards, because you don't want to miss buyers. I typically want to see anything at 50%. I'm willing to look at it. You will get annoyed sometimes. You'll have a card that's very liquid and priced very competitively, and someone will lowball you, and you just either have to decline it or counter them if you wish. And I'm willing to look at those in order to not miss somebody. If they come along on that first Ted Williams and offered me 50%, I would probably take it, get what I could for it, and then relist the second one. So I wouldn't want my settings to be too tight here and miss out on that, because a card like that, you're only going to get so many chances to move it. But make sure you get these settings set up as you start selling. I would say right away, if you haven't started selling and you're kind of using this video series as a guide and you're waiting for this video before you start selling, I would do this first. Get this lined up to fit what you want to do. Then start pricing your inventory out. All right, so we've gone through the fixed price sales and the promotional sales, and that's pretty much the fixed price ones. You just put a price on and it sits, and there's no listing fee, there's no final value fee. There's nothing like that, which eBay has, and this is what makes COMC really nice. After you pay the ingestion fee, you're done. And when it sells, it just moves digitally from your vault to somebody else's. And the best part is these 1,500-ish cards that I have in my inventory, I don't got to deal with them really ever. And that, to me, is really loose. So now let's go back to Aaron Donald, and let's say he's been sitting long enough. It's a good enough card. If you put it out at auction, it will sell. It might not get what you want, but it will sell. So maybe this is the time where, like, look, let's move off this card. He's been in my inventory since April of 2024. He's been sitting here a year. It's not moving. It's time. We can go to our actions, and there's many things we could do here. You can add it to your shipment, which I can just ship it back home. Maybe I want to trade it here. Maybe I want to take it to a card show. Maybe I just want to throw it up on eBay, even though it's already on eBay. Maybe I want to take that markup away and just do it directly myself to be completely transparent. Anything that's in here, I already did that and it didn't sell, so I'm just going to let it go here and do what it's going to do. If you have a low-end card, maybe I did this with a few cards. I was high on LaVisca Chenault a few years ago. I thought he would be pretty solid with what the Jags had going on out there and Trevor Lawrence, and it just never happened. You could just donate those to charity, which I did. They're just not going to sell. I don't want them in my inventory. I don't want to pay storage on them. I just sent it. But what I really went here for is you can submit to auction. This is where, remember, as a buyer, we saw how to look through the auctions. This is going to show where they come from. So here, the sellers are sending their cards to auction. And the easiest way to do it is from your inventory this way. So we can go... We're not going to actually send Aaron, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. So you have two things. Ooh, and we actually got an offer here that we can look at in a minute. It's nice that one came in while we're working. Okay, so they have two things. They have COMC auctions on eBay Live, which is kind of eBay's version of Whatnot. It's live selling. I've never tried it, but I've seen, like, you can go on COMC's profile. We'll take a look at it here. So let's look at this card. and it will show you. So they're streaming right now. So it tells you you can join the event. It's kind of nice. And I've heard mixed results with it. Sometimes people just crush on cards that have no business crushing, and then they'll just get smoked on something like maybe something like this. I mean, something like this should be getting you 25 on an auction for sure. That's a Aaron Donald PSA 9 number to 25. I mean, that card should get you money, but this might go in there and sell for $5 or something like that. It's just a card that's not super liquid. Aaron Donald is not active anymore, so you're just typically not going to get any hype around him at this time, and cards like this will fall through the cracks in there. So as a seller, use with caution. As a buyer, it might be a good spot to just kind of camp out and take advantage of some of that stuff that falls through the cracks. I just haven't done it, but you can join their live events if you'd like. So I'm back at the Aaron Donald. I'm going to simulate like I'm going to send it there just so I can show you the process, okay? So here, you can send it. It tells you what auction number it's going to go to, when it will be run, roughly. You say that I review it, and when you submit it, it's going to take $1 out of your store credit immediately, and then it's going to put that Aaron Donald queued up for the next auction event. You can see the current one looks to be full, but they have a whole bunch of them coming up. We're not going to send this to that auction, but that was a good example. So now we will go back to the other option, and this is the one that integrates with eBay, same as this, but instead of a live event, it is going to be your typical 7-day auction. This is the one I use all the time, especially for low-end slabs or cards that I bought with intent to offload them in the season. I will use this. So we're going to go here, and how this works is pretty much the same. You're still paying the 5% transaction fee on whatever the sale is and a 99-cent fee to submit, but you're not going to get a final value fee, any of that stuff. So it's pretty linear with the eBay fees. I've found I'm better off selling my cards via auction this way than I am direct with my own account. And I believe that's because COMC just gets more eyes. The algorithm's going to push them. I'm a highly rated seller. I have a good amount of volume. I list about 25 cards every day consistently. Now, my store is very small relative to the community. I have maybe 700 to 1,000 cards listed at a time, and I turn quite a bit of them, sure, but nothing like COMC. Like COMC is probably selling 25 cards on eBay a minute. I wouldn't be shocked if it's that much. They're doing crazy volume. So my point in bringing this up is they're going to get pushed more than me. And if I can ingest that slab for $1, pay $1 to auction it, get only a 5% fee, versus on eBay, I sell it, there's no ingestion fee, there's no auction fee. However, there's a final value fee. Depending on its sale price, it's either going to be 30 cents or 40 cents, which is about half of this. And then the percentage on the sale is 13.25 as a default in the trading cards category. So there are situations where eBay is actually better, even though it has a higher percent, because you have the ingestion fee and the auction fee. If it doesn't sell for a lot, like let's say this card sold for $6, you'd be way better off auctioning it on eBay than you would be here after the ingestion fee, the auction fee, and the percentage. But when you start getting up into the $50, $100 card range, you're making out way, way, way better on COMC. So if you've got liquid cards that you know you want to auction off on season, I typically try to get them in there. You could also go with the big consigners. It would be smart to do that. I see a lot of people that do that. You're typically paying about 15% with them too, and they're handling everything for you. The good thing with them is speed. So if you're going to ingest at a low price on COMC, that lead time is months. I mean, you're talking 4 months sometimes, whereas the consigners can turn them in sometimes a couple weeks. So that is the advantage to going there, but you're paying for the service, paying for the convenience. Here, if you're far enough ahead of the game, you can save a lot of money, especially if you're sending stuff in bulk, keep the shipping down, all that kind of stuff. If I were to auction this off, it'd be just like the other one. We're going to read here what that entails. Okay, it starts at 99 cents, 5% transaction fee, no minimum auction fee. They used to have a minimum of $5, but not anymore, which is nice because it allows you to auction off some of the lower end cards. Auction started at 99 cents, run for 7 days. So the positive, you get a tons of eyes, you're going to move your cards, move them at a good price. The negative, they control when it lists. So sometimes you'll try to time it, like if it's Tuesday, you're going to say, all right, I'm going to submit this to auction on Tuesday in hopes that it gets posted on a Thursday, and then it sells the following Thursday right when the football game is on and all that kind of stuff. Like, you can try that, but it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes they list it right away. Sometimes it sits for 4 days and you miss the window. And that part is not ideal. But I can live with it. I typically do really well on their auctions. I like it because they just deal with everything. I don't get any returns. I don't got to ship a ton of it. I can just blast a ton of auctions out, get a ton of credits, and I can either buy more cards or you could pay the fee and send your credits home. But really, you would just check this box. Same as the other screen. The box highlights up right here. You would click it, you store credit, you pay 99 cents, and this bad boy would be off to auction if that were what I was going to do with this card. So that's how you would find the auctions. Another thing you can do, which we touched on before, we're going to go back to the dashboard here, and we went over this on the last video, and what we want to do is look at the type of submissions again. We kind of breezed over those before, but what I want to show this for when we're talking about auctions is there's two things. They get the NFL kickoff event, so a lot of times they have promos. Begin on the 24th to the 31st of August. All kinds of stuff. You can either mail it in, hand deliver, however they want. They got 5% auction fee. Submissions open for elite football cards. Auctions must be 7 days, $8 minimum auction fee for oversized cards. So they're doing a big NFL promo. There's no minimum submission. There's no maximum. But you can submit these cards. They must be received by August 8th. I'm recording this August 4th and 5th. It's probably going to be posted around the 7th. So by the time you see this video, it might be too late for that promo. But you would send it in, and basically that would go straight to auction, just like we just looked at. So you're not going to pay the ingestion fees on that. You're going to save. So if you sent in some slabs that you knew you wanted to auction off, this would be where you'd do it. You'd send it in. It would have to be postmarked by the 8th because they've got to ingest it, and then they are going to auction them off for NFL kickoff week. When they don't have promos there, what I look at right here is the eBay auctions. It operates the same way. It's just not a promotional event, and it's something, basically everything is still the same. It's just not an NFL thing, and they're not promising to upload it immediately. They're saying it takes 2 to 3 weeks to process these. But if there's cards that you know you want to auction them off, maybe that's somebody that's liquid all the time, like Michael Jordan, right? He's not active, but he doesn't need to be. He just sells around the clock. It doesn't matter. Maybe you've got some slab Jordans you just want to send in. You might send them here. You don't pay the ingestion fee. They never hit your inventory. They just go right to auction. You pay the 99 cents per card, and that's going to cut your costs down pretty much in half if they're slabs. Instead of paying the $1 to ingest and then auction it right away for 99 cents, you skip it entirely, right to auction. So this is a nice feature, but you got to be careful because you just don't know when it's going to go out. So if you're trying to really time the market, this can be high risk, high reward. But it is an option that I want to show you for ingesting cards if you're looking to sell via auction, and that's your intent when you first send it in. Take advantage of this. There's really no minimum maximum of order size here, so even if you only have 3 slabs and you want to throw it in alongside the order of some low end cards that you're going to send standard, you can put a couple different submissions together, send them all, and get your cards auctioned off. So that's what I wanted to show you there. I'm glad an example came up. I didn't know if we get one. Let's look at an offer here. I'm more than likely going to accept it. This is where your offers will show up, and while we're on the dashboard, I will continue on last week's video. This is where the submission showed up. So my submissions made it a little bit after the video. You can see they're due to be completed by 9/2. As these start to get ingested, the number will count backwards, and then the cards will show up here in that little yellow banner that we saw on the buying video and also the submissions video, where we have to assign the inventory. But to look at your offers, you can do 2 things. You can click directly on it here or here. You can also, if you have the app or you can take care of offers on your phone. I like to take care of them right away. So before I look at this offer, I want to go through one thing. If you're going to make an offer, it ties up your credits. I didn't really go over that on the buying video, but if you make an offer, let's say it's $2, it's going to tie up $2 in credits. It's going to show up over here, and it's going to show like $2 in funds tied up until something happens with the offer. If they counter or decline it, the fees come right back into your credit here. If they accept, it just goes to them. So right now, this person on their side has $287 tied up right here. And why that's important is I like to act really, really fast on offers. If I see a notification in my email and I'm on the road or something, I'll just try to get in on the app or get in on my phone's web browser and deal with the offer right away because it ties up funds. Sometimes people are only playing around in here with like $20 or $40 or something. So if you sit around and tie their money up too long, they'll just rescind the offer and then go mess around somewhere else. They're not going to wait. So I like to get in here right away and get it handled. Let's take a look at what we got here. Perfect. This card I will move pretty much at any price. So this was a Panini USA Stars and Stripes card. I sent these in, you can see, not that long ago. They were part of a collection that I acquired. Had a lot of these cards, and sadly there's a lot of nice ones, numbered autos and stuff. They're just, problem is a lot of these guys didn't become stars. They're older. You can see this is almost a 10-year-old card, and it's just not going to move. But this is one where you can accept it, you can reject it, or you can put a counter in here. Let's say I was really firm on getting $3. I could type 3 and send a counter offer. This is one of those cards like the Ted Williams. I want to move it. So let this gentleman find a new home. Hopefully that buyer is a collector of Mr. Nick York and is happy to have that card. I'm happy to have it out of the inventory. And you can see here, it just shows you get your funds. It gives you a breakdown of what happened with your sale. So there's a $287 sale fee, 14.35 is the 5% sale fee, and I got a COMC credit of $272. Not too bad. So your sales, like everything else, are tracked really well in COMC. If you want to track your sales, you can just look at them here. And you can look at everything. So you can see here I've got some eBay sales like I was talking about. Those were ones I was missing out on before. And you can look at your sales by year. You can download your yearly sales. Everything is available. It's very detailed. It's going to give you a fee breakdown. You can get it into Excel and rip through that data, do whatever you want with it. It's really, really nice. But that, in a nutshell, is everything selling on COMC. It's not super complicated. It's either going to be fixed price or it's going to be auction. One of the two. And it really just comes down to running something that's going to make sense for you. You need to have a plan for your inventory. Really, when you send it in, you should really have a plan for what you're going to do with it. If you're just kind of just throwing stuff in a box just to get rid of it and sending it in, you have to understand that you might run into cards like that Ted Williams where you have positive intent to send it in, but it's going to move slow. And if you send in 5 of them, you're going to be stuck with them for a while. I like to take the time before I even send cards in. I will look and see how many are on the site and if I think I can even sell it. If I can't, I usually just sit on it for a while, or I'll throw it up on eBay and see if I can move it there. Really what you want to do with it. If you're willing to just take a little bit less and send it to COMC and let them deal with it, that's fine. Just keep in mind that there are fees that come into play, which I would like to show you here before we go on to the last two things, which are your storage and security fees. And then last but not least, the ports. So first, we are going to look at storage. And to look at storage, it's kind of hidden to find out where it is. But where it is over in the seller menu. It's under account upgrades. Now, if you're moving a ton of inventory, you may want to go here, but let's start with the first one. This is what everybody gets. Basic default setting is free and includes the following features. Free storage on all items flagged to be shipped home or marked not for sale. So that is where, when I was saying if you have duplicates of slow-moving cards, just don't mark them for sale. Keep your storage at an absolute minimum. The more that you have listed, the more your storage is going to pile up. This also kind of goes hand in hand with those promotions, and another reason why I got away from it is it actually reduced my storage for this reason here. Free storage on all items with an asking price of 75 cents or less. So on that low end stuff, you don't want to pay storage on that, especially if it sits. However, what I was doing is there might have been a lot of cards I was trying to sell at 75 cents, but I was marking them up to $1.05, marking it down 30% to get it down to where I needed to sell it, and my storage was being charged on my asking price, which is $1.05, which is above the 75% threshold, and I was paying storage on just a bunch of cheap cards. And if you have a lot of stuff around that line and you're constantly running promotions and your asking price is just above it, you're paying a lot more storage on low-end cards than you need to be. So keep that kind of stuff in mind too. The promotions are great, but you really need to have it tailored to you. It's probably something where if you've got a lot of like $10 cards in your inventory, it's probably really good to use promotions periodically done correctly. But if you just have a lot of low-end stuff like I do, a lot of cards that are like under $5 and stuff, I would use the promotions sparingly and wisely. Now, if you were like some super mega user, which I'm not in those waters, but maybe some of you are, there's a $50 membership you can buy. This upgrade costs $50 a month. Obviously, I don't know why they had to put that in there, but they did. And includes the following features. Free storage on all items with an asking price of $250 or less. So that could be really nice. If you've got a ton of low-end stuff, that would be a really, really good option for you, because if you have 5,000 plus items and you're paying storage, which I think is like 1 cent on every $10, something like that, but you're basically paying a storage, and I'll actually see if I can find a breakdown of it. Okay. So I've got it up here from the support. It's broken down. It's 1 cent per item for items with an asking price of 75 cents per month. Now, here's the exception. Cards with an asking price of 75 cents or less are stored free. Great. Purchases are exempt from storage fees unless they are put back for sale. So that goes back to here. Cards marked not for sale or being shipped home, no fee. Consigned cards that are not for sale are storage free. Here's a nice thing. The first 90 days are exempt from storage for each card's original owner. So if you ingest 400 cards and they don't all sell right away, you still get a first 90 days free until the storage starts hitting. There are no storage fees while cards are being processed to be added to the site. So that's nice as well. The below card is priced at a maximum value, which does not have to pay storage. The item has a price breakdown of 75% asking plus a 25% shipping, $1 list price. So what they're saying is the asking price is what is essentially your take home. They're not factoring the shipping in there. So the 75% is going to be the number right here in this example. If that makes sense. Okay. Now the enhanced security fee is another charge that is on your higher end cards. Okay, so let's look at this. The enhanced security fee is also charged on the first of every month and is listed separately from storage fees. So when you look at your credit history on the month, if you want to review your fees, you can see it there, and it'll be under advanced security. Please note there is no grace period for this fee. Items with a list price of $50 or less are not affected by this fee. So this is for your high-end stuff. This applies to items with a list price of $50.01 or more. It's 1 cent per $1,000 in total list price per day. It doesn't bill you daily, it's billed monthly. So it's whatever this accrues to over the month, you'll just get hit once a month. And for me, I think my enhanced security is like $8 or something like that. Cards that are not for sale are not charged enhanced security fee. Now here's another example. $49.75, 25-cent shipping, $50 list price. It does not incur the fee. So it's given a breakdown here, and it will give you an estimate on your dashboard. So here, this person has an estimate of nothing. We can go look at mine. I want to say mine is like $8, but at least it was before. Maybe I sold enough stuff where it's down to like 3 now, but that is an example of what the enhanced security looks like. Let's go see what mine is. Look at mine's down to 16 cents now. So that's pretty good. Up in January, it was up to like $8. So I really moved a lot of stuff this year. So thank goodness for that. But you can see there's cards like that Aaron Donald that I strategically have at like $49.99. I have a lot of stuff that's there just to keep fees down. So that's a breakdown of the storage and how that affects you. You want to be mindful of all the fees that go on in COMC, which will probably be my final video. I think I'll just do a quick recap of all fees, everything encompassing, to try to just get it all at one spot. It's a lot of kind of going on at once, but once you get a feel for the site and what you're doing, you just know every action has potential fee or two assessed to it. It's not like you have to think of everything all the time. Ports. Port is what your inventory is. Now you can make a port. This is my port. And what my port is it's everything that I currently have listed. You can sell your port in bulk if you wish. However, like everything else, you need to have a plan. You can list your port for sale, but to find the ones for sale could be a little tricky. There are times where people will just list their whole port for sale. I'll show you how to do that. You want to look at this browse function that's up here, and it's on every screen, and you will see way over here there are port sales. In port sales, you want to look at, and you can also see sales that are being run. It'll show you the stores that are running sales, and then as well as auctions, which we've already seen. Port sales look like this, and people will make themed ones. So you can see it's a 2013 to 2022, starts at $500, and people will get in here and basically bid on them as they go. I've never bought one. Maybe you can, yeah, it looks like it ends, but I think you can just buy them outright. I don't know if it's like auction style, but maybe it is. Here we've got stuff that is basically vintage to modern. It's a whole myriad of stuff. They have different themes of what they'll make them for. I don't want to pick on anybody here, put them on blast or anything, but there's an example of what I want to find here to show you. All right, so we're going to look at this one here. $250 for this port. Let's take a look at it. So their asking price is $250. 197 cards. Suggested retail price $145. Original asking price $564. They're asking for $250. Buy it now, or you can make an offer. Now, this one's actually pretty reasonable, I would say. Like, they're asking for half of what they're asking, or their original prices, which isn't bad. But a lot of times in these, and I'm glad I found a good example because I didn't want to pick on anybody, but you'll see here where the suggested retail price is like inflated. Like, people put a couple of random cards in there, put like Zach Wilson's and Trey Lance's and cards that have beta sales history going back that are inflated. It might even say, at one time this card is $25 and now it's $5, but that card isn't moving at all for like 50 cents. So they'll put a bunch of those in there, and you'll come in here and say, oh, the suggested retail price is $1,000. I can scoop it up for $250. What a deal. So you got to look out. People will scam you on this stuff, and you need to really look through it, but there can be deals in here. If there's stuff that you really want, there could be good ones. Like $250 for this one doesn't seem terrible. Looks like he's got some numbered stuff in here, old and new, some names, some no names. It really just comes down to if it has the stuff that you want in there, but I'm not really going to cut into what anybody's doing. They take the time to put it together. I don't really use it, but you're welcome to come in here and just peruse around. If you were going to make a port, again, it's the cards that are listed for sale. So if we go back to my port, it'll show pretty much everything there, and you can assemble a theme like that if you were to make a port for sale. So we could sort it out, and it looks like most common player I have is Akeem Olajuwon, apparently. So you can sort out by that. And this is how you would basically navigate people's stuff if you wanted to search their store. If they had a sale, you could go over here and use all these different filters the same way you can as a buyer. But that's pretty much how you use ports. I've never spent a lot of time in there. I've never found a great opportunity in there. But that might be an opportunity for you to buy some stuff in bulk, really beef up your inventory on a budget for sure. And I'm not sure, I would assume when you buy those cards that you're paying the shipping fee as well. So that is a bonus. But that pretty much covers everything there is to do with selling. It really just comes down to what I always talk about, having a plan for every single card on the site. What are you sending it to them for? What are you looking to do? Are you looking to sell at fixed price, auction? Are you looking to time it? Or are you buying a card with the intent to ship it home? Are you buying a card with the intent to flip it on the site and then sell it? And when you're selling it, did you want to buy it with the intent to auction it right away? Or did you want to just relist it at a higher fixed price, sell it that way? But the key is with selling, get your parameters set first. Go into your options. Make sure that you set your minimum offer amount that you'll accept as far as the nominal amount. Get that established and get your minimum and maximum offers established. After you've done that, start pricing out your inventory and be competitive with what's out there. You want to always be the lowest if you can if you're looking to move your cards. You don't have to, but just remember, if you price it somewhere in the middle, you're probably not going to move it. If you have a card that you want to sell for more and the other ones out there are just too low, I just would not price it at this point so you're not paying storage on it. Do all those little things to keep all the fees down as much as possible. Otherwise, I won't say you'll get bled out, but like you'll notice like $5 here, $10 here getting deducted out for storage and enhanced security fees and all this stuff, and your cards aren't selling, and you're just thinking, well, what in the world? You got to be really active and conscious of what you're doing. It's one of those things where you get what you put in. So if you are very active and you're in here and you're aggressive with your inventory, you will sell stuff, you will make money. If you kind of just toss it in there and check on it once or twice a month, you get what you get. So you're going to get some sales. That is the sales video. We had a lot to cover here. I appreciate you listening to me yammer on about all of this. It's important that you have a good understanding of it if you're going to be selling on here and be successful. I hope that some of these examples and dialogue have been helpful to you. They have been. Again, take the time to subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a like if it's been helpful. Let me know something in the comments if it has been or what you'd like me to cover. All that stuff helps, and make sure that I'm delivering to you what you want to watch. But that is it for today. So until next time, we'll see ya.